Welcome to This Explainer. Think of me as your gentle, caring mathematics teacher and your personal guide to mastering WAEC past questions. Look, I completely understand that prepping for your math exam can feel like carrying a really heavy burden. It gets overwhelming, right? But hey, take a deep breath, drop your shoulders. I'm right here to hold your hand and walk you through it safely. We are going to conquer these past questions together and build up that confidence. Oh, and real quick before we dive in, if you want the absolute best place to get adequate preparation ahead of your WAEC exams, you've got to check out the QandA platform. It is a total game changer for your studies. All right, let's get into it.
So here's our comfort and game plan for today. 1. Welcome to WAEC Prep. 2. The perfect square analogy. 3. Simplifying the Surds visually. 4. Solving the WAEC question. 5. Avoiding common exam mistakes. And 6. Review and study plan.
Welcome to WAEC Prep.
All right, here's the exact question we're tackling from the WASC 2025 Mathematics materials, specifically question 3. It asks us to simplify the square root of 200 minus the square root of 72. Now, whenever we look at a question, my dear students, we absolutely must look at the available options so we know our destination. Option A is 8 root 2, option B is 4 root 2, option C is 2 root 2, and option D is 10 root 2. I know. Just seeing those roots, or surds as we call them, can instantly make your heart race a bit. But I promise you, there is literally zero need to panic. We've got this together.
Section 2. The perfect square analogy.
Simplifying surds really shouldn't be scary. I want you to fundamentally change your perspective and visualize it as simply unpacking a bag after a long trip. When you have a big number under a square root sign, think of it as a heavy, overstuffed suitcase. Our goal is to reach inside and find the biggest perfect square hidden in there. We take it out to lighten the load and leave only a small, manageable leftover part inside the bag. And as a quick reminder, perfect squares are just numbers like 4, 9, 16, 25, numbers whose square root is a clean whole integer.
Take the number 100, for example. This is one of the absolute best, beautifully heavy perfect squares we look for when we're unpacking our mathematical bags. Why? Because the square root of 100 is exactly 10. No messy decimals, no fractions, just a perfect 10. I want you to visually prime your minds to always try and spot 100 hiding inside those larger numbers. Another fantastic example is 36. The square root of 36 is exactly 6. This is another super friendly perfect square that frequently loves to hide inside these WAEC surd questions. So lock the number 36 securely into your memory right now as we move forward.
Section 3. Simplifying the surds visually.
Okay, let's look at our first heavy bag, the square root of 200. Step 1, we ask ourselves, how can we break 200 into two factors where one is a massive perfect square? Well, 200 is simply 100 multiplied by 2, right? So we rewrite the square root of 200 as the square root of 100 times 2. Now for step 2, we unpack. We pull out that perfect square of 100. And what is the square root of 100? It's 10. So that 10 comes all the way outside the root symbol, and what is left stuck inside the bag? Just that little leftover 2. So the square root of 200 simplifies perfectly down to 10 root 2. See? Not bad at all.
Now let's gently shift our focus to the second surd in our question, the square root of 72. Step 1, let's hunt for a perfect square hiding inside 72. Remember that 36 we literally just talked about? Well, 36 multiplied by 2 gives us exactly 72. So we rewrite the square root of 72 as the square root of 36 times 2. Step 2, time to unpack again. The square root of 36 is 6. So we pull that 6 cleanly outside the root, leaving our leftover 2 on the inside. Boom, we get 6 root 2. You are doing so brilliantly following along.
This really illustrates our progress. That big, intimidating square root of 200 simplifies into a very friendly 10 root 2, and the square root of 72 becomes 6 root 2. Just look at how beautifully both of these complex numbers have been broken down. And I want you to notice something wonderful here. They both have matching leftover parts. They both end in a root 2. That is no accident, guys. This is exactly what WAEC wants you to find.
Section 4. Solving the WAEC question.
Notice how incredibly easy the math gets once we've simplified everything? The original problem asked us to subtract one from the other. Let's just swap in our new clean versions. 10 root 2 minus 6 root 2. My dear students, whenever those leftover roots are exactly the same, you just treat that root 2 like a letter variable in algebra, like an x or a y.
If I asked you, what is 10x minus 6x, you'd confidently shout 4x, right? Following that exact same logical way, 10 root 2 minus 6 root 2 equals 4 root 2. I am honestly so proud of your focus and dedication here. So, let's bring back our original question, complete with all those multiple choice options. Simplify root 200 minus root 72. Is it A, B, C, or D? Well, we just did the math together hand in hand, and we can joyfully reveal that option B, 4 root 2, is our correct answer. You have officially conquered the question.
Section 5. Avoiding common exam mistakes.
Now, as your caring teacher, I have to make sure you recognize the traps WAEC sets so you never fall into them. Let's systematically break down exactly why options A, C, and D are incorrect to build up your conceptual understanding. Option A is 8 root 2. This is incorrect because a stressed student might just make a simple, wrong subtraction error in their head. Option C, 2 root 2, happens if someone somehow subtracts the wrong leftover parts or gets totally mixed up with their perfect squares. And option D, 10 root 2, oh, that one is entirely incorrect, and we're going to talk about why this specific one is a major trap in just a moment.
But first, the absolute most crucial point, trap warning. You cannot, and I repeat, you absolutely cannot simply subtract the numbers inside the roots. You cannot say 200 minus 72 is 128 and then try to find the square root of 128. No way. That is the most common fatal mistake students make under pressure. Remember our gentle analogy? You must always unpack the heavy bags first before you can even try to compare or combine what is inside them.
And here is another very important trap warning. Option D, 10 root 2. This is a very clever and intentional trap set by the WAEC examiners for students who rush. If you remember our steps, 10 root 2 is just the simplified version of the first number, the square root of 200. Sometimes students do that very first step, look down, see their partial answer in the options, panic with excitement, circle it, and move on without finishing the whole equation. Please, never rush. Take a breath and always finish reading and solving the entire expression.
Section 6. Review and Study Plan.
Here is our entire lessons journey consolidated into a neat, easily memorable table that I want you to mentally picture on exam day. Step 1. Identify the question, root 200 minus root 72. Step 2. Unpack the squares. We broke them down into root 100 times 2 and root 36 times 2. Step 3. Subtract the simplified forms. 10 root 2 minus 6 root 2 leaves us with a final answer of 4 root 2. It's just a beautifully simple 3-step process. To make sure you fully master this topic before you sit for the WAEC, here's your actionable 4-point study plan. First, memorize your perfect squares all the way up to 144. Knowing instantly that 12 squared is 144 will save you so much precious time. Second, always simplify your surds before attempting to add or subtract them. Always unpack the bags first. Third, when subtracting, treat the matching leftover root just like a letter variable in algebra. And finally, check every single multiple choice option for those hidden traps before making your final selection. And now, to wrap up our explainer today, I have a rapid-fire quiz just for you. Be honest with yourself, without looking back at your notes. What were the 2 heavy, hidden perfect squares we unpacked today to solve root 200 and root 72? Take a second and think about it. Yes, you got it. It was 136. If you remembered those numbers, you are well on your way to earning a phenomenal grade. For your practice question today to keep you sharp, grab a piece of paper and try simplifying the square root of 50 on your own. What perfect square is hiding in there? I'll leave you to figure that out. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Remember to utilize the Q&A platform for your prep, keep practicing your math with a smile on your face, and I will see you in the next explainer.